Kia ora, and welcome to Beer Club. I'm Joe,
I'm Luke.
and this is Luppolo, an Italian Pilsner by 8 Wired.
Do you know what Luppolo means, Joe?
Lupulin, I presume.
Yes, hops, exactly. Humulus lupulus is the Latin for the hop plant. So yeah, Luppolo is simply Italian for hops, because this is a pretty hoppy beer.
Yeah, Italian Pilsner is a hoppy lager, sort of modelled on German Pilsner, and then dry hopped, which is a New World technique.
Cheers.
Using sort of New World German hops as well, right? Not the classics that have been used for a long time, but sort of new varieties.
Yeah, so you've got your traditional Czech Pilsner, traditional German Pilsner. One's a bit more sort of softer and bready than the other. Both are known for being having more hop bite, having more bitterness than your traditional lagers and your Helles and things like that. But yeah, with the Italian Pilsner, it's hoppier, but it's not more bitter than a traditional Pilsner. So yeah, as you say, it's all about the aroma. And that comes from pretty new techniques of dry hopping and adding hops at the end of the brew and on the cold side. So you're getting all the lovely sort of flavonoids and compounds, but without, I mean, it is a bitter beer, of course, but without more bitterness that you would get from adding it earlier in the brewing process. And yeah, there's cool hops coming out of all over the world. We talk a lot about our amazing hops here in New Zealand, but like with many things, cool stuff happens in other countries as well.
Yeah, they're growing pretty much in any sort of warm climate, aren't they? It's not super dependent on elevation or rain or anything like that. They are pretty hardy plants, I understand.
Yeah, like hops grow most places.
Yeah.
Obviously, they originate in Mongolia tens of thousands of years ago, and they sort of self-introduced themselves into Europe and the Americas also. We talked about Neo-Mexicanas hops previously, but yeah, hops grow most places, but they grow better in some places. So, of course, in Britain, you have Kent. In New Zealand, it's Nelson that's known for. But these days, with global warming, kind of anything goes.
Yeah, because they're growing up north, they're growing right down south, like
exactly
sort of Queenstown.
With some of the beers that you've curated for our fresh hop selections, both at the for the festivals and for the boxes, we've had hops from Fat House, right in Northland, all the way down to, I guess, would Garston be about one of the more southerly ones?
I think.
Queenstown.
Yeah.
So yeah, Germany, of course, they've grown very good hops for a long time, and we're used to being excited about all the really wonderful traditional German hops, the noble hop varieties. But yeah, there's exciting new ones like beers we've had in recent years in the box. I've had Mandarina Bavaria is a really popular one, but this is we're just talking about. So we've got Perla, Saphir. What was the other one here? Do you remember?
Callista?
Yeah.
Not really hops I've ever heard of, honestly. But yeah, give it a lovely sort of floral, very pale kind of citrus. It's not a pithy sort of bitter, grapefruity citrus. It's very much like a light lemon character to the beer.
Yeah, lemon's a good point. And yeah, just that sort of like tangerine, lemon zest vibe. I know, you often put berries in my mind when we're talking about hops, but actually, I feel like I am getting some sort of berries and cream character.
Yeah.
Or maybe not cream, maybe that's just...
Yeah, and it's a really just well-executed lager, as we always say when we drink 8 Wide beer.
Yeah.
It's like
my God,
perfect sort of malt bill, nothing sort of grainy or gritty about it, and the ferment's just super clean, and it sort of has all come together really nicely. Just, yeah, delightful lager.
And yeah, cold conditions, so after beer is finished fermenting, traditionally lagers and these styles are cold stored. That's what the word lager means. It means to store in German, lagern. So yeah, with 8 Wide, they always do things properly. They're not cutting any corners. It's expensive to keep your beer in a tank for an extra 6 weeks or so, when it could just be out there getting sold, getting drunk, and a new beer coming through. So depending on the beer style, but you can turn a brew round in as little as a week, especially with these sort of interesting yeast varietals that become popular in the last few years. Your Voss and different Kvake varieties. So for a brewery to commit to that lagering period, time is money. And also, people aren't spending $18 a can on lagers either. So, yeah, always big kudos to breweries that choose to do it properly, which, as we say, 8Wide definitely doing. And the reason for that lagering, it's clarity of flavour, right?
Yeah, it sort of helps everything come together. Yeah, if you ever taste a sort of tank sample, quite often you're like, oh, that's, quite bitter or quite harsh, or, there's always something a little bit pointy. And yeah, I think from my experience of tasting sort of lagers when they're fresh and then once they've lagered, is you sort of get it all rounded out. There's not anything sort of harsh or young kind of tasting, which is a weird thing to say, but when things are a bit young, they're a little bit prickly, a little bit bright in maybe the wrong way, or you are getting the clarity of flavour. The hops are being allowed to shine, doing what they're there for, and it's a very easy drinking beer. It's a cracking 6-pack beer. Definitely one you can smash a few of without thinking too much about it. But if you are choosing to think about it, as we are right now, it's also a really cool, interesting style. And Italian Pilsners came about in the late 90s. There was just one bloke that decided that he wanted to drink a Pilsner that's hoppier but not bitterer, and sort of taking inspiration from what was happening in the world of IPAs and modern pale ales, from the States especially, introduced those dry hopping processes. And it was a style that was pretty popular from a handful of breweries in Italy for a good decade or so. And it wasn't really until, I suppose, well into the 2010s that other people took heed. It's Italian Pilsners is only really in the last sort of 5-10 years that they've really come onto my radar, and I've seen them around. Yeah, definitely New Zealand Pilsner was sort of on our radar when it was first happening in New Zealand. And I suppose it's, the same thought process, but using New Zealand hops, which the aromatics are definitely more full on.
Yeah.
These are a bit more delicate, a bit more sort of floral and gentle. Kind of cool. We had a couple weeks ago in New Zealand Pils.
Yeah.
Cool to have these close-ish together and sort of see the difference between very similar styles but different hops used. Because I don't know if this is the only Italian Pilsner, sort of definitely core range in New Zealand, but it's not been a huge amount sort of out there that I've ever noticed.
Definitely not. It's, I can't really think of any off the top of my head. I know I have had some from New Zealand breweries, but they would have just been one-off.
And maybe using hops like Mandarina Bavaria, which are a bit more readily available.
Yeah.
And we've sort of seen them in other styles. Whereas, these 3 hops I've never sort of heard of or seen before, so that's quite cool.
Yeah, very cool. But the more you drink it and it's warming up just a little bit, you are getting the lovely bready character, and the malt profile is just really pleasant. There's no bad aftertaste or anything. It's not too watery. It's just a really satisfyingly smashable beer, isn't it?
Yeah, really, really good.
Great stuff. And if you're a fan of hops, which you probably are, and if you didn't manage to get to our Auckland Fresh Hop Skip and a Jump Festival last weekend, this weekend on the Auckland Beer Mile is another Fresh Hop Festival across all the breweries and brewery tap rooms along the Auckland Beer Mile are going to be pouring fresh hop beers, and there'll be music and food trucks and pop-ups and lots of cool stuff happening. So here we've persuaded our mate Dan from Passa Passa to do another pop-up with his incredible pizzas and arancini balls, so traditional, authentic Italian food, or maybe that's not traditional, pretty modern, hey?
Yeah, I think it's pretty traditional in Napoli. They fry everything down there. So,
yeah?
Yeah.
Very cool. So pop along to that if you are around in Auckland on Saturday. Excellent work, 8Wide, as always. Love your work. Thanks for joining us. Cheers, Joe.
Cheers.